Thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome Mr. Brennan to the committee. We thank all of you for being here. I joined Mr. Lobiando. It is really an honor to be able to meet with the intelligence community all over the world, and we thank them for their work. My questions are regarding Iran and obtaining the nuclear weapon. I'd like to ask some questions about that, but before I do that, I'd like to ask a question of Director Brennan. When the White House conducted their armed drone strikes in North Africa, particularly in eastern Libya, prior to the attack on our mission in Benghazi on 9/11 last year, did the White House notify the State Department of the armed drone strikes before they were made?
Armed drone strikes in Libya? I'm unknowing of such, and I would defer to the White House to address your question.
Were there any armed drone strikes in northern Africa that were made by the White House?
The White House doesn't have a drone capability, responsibility, whatever. So,
did they have any directives toward having armed drone strikes in North Africa?
Again, I don't know what it is specifically you're referring to, but again, I would defer to the White House on whatever happened at that time.
Well, you speak to the capability. The UAVs that were flying over Libya were military and were unarmed.
And so were there any armed drone strikes that were made in North Africa prior to 9/11?
In Libya?
I'm asking in North Africa. I'm asking Director Brennan, were there any armed drone strikes that were made by the United States in North Africa prior to 9/11?
Well, we usually don't talk about any type of specific actions, but I don't know what you could be referencing.
I'm just wondering if the State Department was aware, or if the military was aware, or if the CIA was aware. And if we aren't going to talk about that, we aren't going to talk about that, but that's a question I'd like to know. Going back to Iran, what is our red line regarding the Iranian nuclear weapon development program? And I would ask Director Brennan, what is our red line?
That clearly is a policy question. That's one of the things that the intelligence community is trying to make sure that policymakers are fully informed about developments inside of Iran and their nuclear-related pursuits.
But regarding the nuclear weapon program and our intelligence capability, again, we have a wonderful intelligence community, but we weren't aware of the bombing in 1993 at the World Trade Center Tower. We weren't aware before 9/11 occurred in 2001. We weren't aware of the Arab Spring developments, and we weren't aware of the attack on the mission in Benghazi. How do we have confidence that we will know when Iran has amassed the capability of developing a nuclear weapon? I ask that because the President said last month that it would take approximately a year for Iran to develop a nuclear weapon once they had made that decision. Last week, we know that the current negotiations have gone without any breakthrough or any development. And so I'm very concerned about our intelligence capability of knowing with a high degree of certainty when Iran has either made the decision to develop nuclear weapons or has obtained nuclear weapons.
I think this subject
is
much better talked about in closed session.
I would look forward to that, and I would appreciate that. Could you comment on what is happening with, we talk a lot about uranium development with Iran's nuclear program, but Iran is also building a heavy water reactor capable of producing plutonium. What's the status of Iran's heavy water reactor?
Well, again, this would be a subject for closed session, I think.
I look forward to